100% true. All right, I got one more question for you, and I want you to touch on this. Take a second and think about it. But this is how I feel, and I'm not happy that it hasn't been done already. But it is way past time for the Knicks, for James Dolan, to make right whatever happened with Charles Oakley. I grew up watching Charles Oakley, grew up loving that team, grew up that whole era with Patrick Ewing and Larry Johnson and John Starks, Allen Houston, Sprewell, that whole time period, Anthony Mason, rest in peace. I love that time period. Charles Oakley was the heart and soul of the Knicks. Okay? Whatever is going on with them, I feel that James Dolan, the Knicks organization, should have made it right a long time ago. What say you?
Well, first off, as a season ticket holder, you're trying to get me in some trouble here on this show. And I do not appreciate that. I do not appreciate that. But what I will say, without giving you too political of an answer so I can keep my seat, Mr. Dolan, I love you, Mr. Dolan. I love the Knicks, all right? I grew up in that time period too, right? Like that's one of the classic Knick teams. We all love that Knick team. And we'd all love to see Oak back at the Garden. I think we'd all love to see that. Now, for me, it's hard for me to speak on it when I don't really know what happened behind the scenes, right? Like, I don't know. Like, we all know between men, like, sometimes things happen even between families, and you got to try to work that stuff out. But if I'm speaking from, the street, I don't really know what's going on inside the room, and I don't know how deep it goes. I don't know who did what. So for me to say, okay, Oak should just come back in the Garden, I also heard one thing Oak said, which I didn't like. He kind of threw Ewing under the bus in his book for not being a leader for the Knicks. And I thought that was kind of like, listen, Ewing, you want to say whatever you want about Ewing. Ewing dragged those Knicks teams to the finals. Okay, those Knicks teams, Oakley, I love Oakley. He made one All-Star team. All right, I love Starks. He made one All-Star team. Ewing was the man there. He had to shoulder all the blame. Every time anything went wrong, it was always on him. So I think I'd love to see Oak back. I didn't appreciate that he said that because I think when you're a team, you keep that stuff in-house. I'm sure you guys played and, you guys played on some really good teams. I'm sure there was some stuff inside that certain teammates did, and you're like, you know what? I don't love this. But you didn't come out and talk in the media and say, you know what? Hey, this guy's a bum. We got to get rid of this guy. So I think from Oak's standpoint, I think it'll work out over time. But I also think he hasn't helped himself in the media with how he's reacted. You're not going to get Dolan. One thing about Dolan, and this is just kind of, I think, what any billionaire, they don't want to be told they're wrong, right? They don't want to be yelled at in the public. That's not the way to get back in the Garden, regardless if you're right or wrong. Sometimes you just got to take it, and you got to say, okay, what's the best way for me to get back in the Garden? You're not going to win that battle. That guy's got $3 billion, $4 billion, whatever he's got. He owns the Knicks. So no matter what, you got to figure out, okay, how am I going to just stay under the radar, say some good things in the public, work it out, and then get back to the Garden where I want to be because that's my team and that's where I grew up. And I think he could do a better job of that regardless of what happened in the media. So I think it's probably on both sides. I would love to see him back, but I don't know enough about what's going on inside to tell you, hey, this person's right or this person's wrong, and I want to keep my seat.
I got you. Well, let me just off a little bit because I have to, respectfully disagree on a few
go
things.
ahead.
I think that is somebody of Oakley's caliber. I think he was the heart and soul of the Knicks. I think there's a certain level of what he has accomplished that he should be a part of the organization. So, like when the Knicks didn't offer Patrick Ewing a job, after he wanted to get into coaching, that should not have happened.
I agree with that.
First person to that wanted to be able to work with the Knicks organization. I mean, any capacity, whatever capacity that they, So I mean, I think Oakley should have a statue in front of the Garden. He meant that much.
He did.
So I just feel that without even knowing any of the details, I think that somebody in the Knicks organization, whether it's James Dolan or anyone down, should make it right. Whatever that means. You know what I mean? And make it right now.
Well, let me say one thing to that. Okay, go ahead. I don't want to forget my comment. Go ahead.
I got you. But Oakley feels that he was disrespected, and it was a very ugly scene. You know what I mean? Publicly, and the way that it was, that hurt my heart as a Knicks fan to see that happening. So just from that image being the image that was put out there, from the Knicks organization, I think there should be more of, a handout or more urgency to want to rectify that because of what Oak meant to the entire organization.
I agree with you on that. The one thing I would say is think about a similar situation with a player that was on the Knicks that had an atrocious fallout with Mr. Dolan. His name was Latrell Sprewell, where he was cursing at him and screaming at him in the middle of the game when he was on Minnesota, yelling at him on the bench. Now he's the mayor of the Garden. He's back there. He's sitting front row. So obviously everything could be worked out. We don't know what happened there, but you couldn't have done that. Talk about public, kind of a show in public, right? Like that was as bad as it gets, like almost as bad as Oak. So I think they mended those fences. Sprewell kind of handled that internally a different way. They're going to have to come kind of together and have a meeting. I agree with you on what happened at the Garden. Nobody wanted to see that. I'm not condoning that at all, right? Like I'm not. But it's also hard for me to say like the Knicks have done right a lot of times by their alumni. Look at all their alumni who are at the Garden. Larry Johnson, John Starks works for the team. Ewing's now back all the time. And I agree, he should have gotten a job when he left the team. But, time has passed. They've now kind of mended that. Sprewell's there. All the Carmelo's at every game. Obviously, it's Carmelo, but,
my guy Wilson Chandler.
Wilson Chandler's at the games, right? Like I sat behind Baron Davis one game, right? Like so the Knicks have been very good. Once a Knick, always a Knick. They have done that. So what happened with Oak? Something must have happened internally that I don't think we kind of know the full details about. Maybe you do. You're closer to that situation than I am. Maybe something happened there that was really bad that's going to take time. I can tell you just personally, and Mom, don't get mad at me for this, but my mom and her brother were in a feud for 10 years and they didn't talk. And I had no idea why. Now they mended the fences and we're all family and we're doing great again. It's great. And life is too short for that stuff. So I agree. You're better off mending the fences. But sometimes we just don't really know what happens. And it just takes one person to come out and say, okay, let's make a phone call. Let's get this right and let's get him back there. We all want to see it, but it's hard for me to comment on it. Now, last thing, because I know I wanted to say something about Syracuse today. So before you get me out of here, give me some Syracuse tee up.
Okay, all right. Well, what do you think?
Because I'm excited about this year. I'm excited.
Yeah. No, this side we have Melo's son Cayenne is there. We have Sadiq White, who's a great freshman as well.
Yeah.
We have a completely different team than what was there last year. This is going to be a whole different type of a vibe, a whole different identity. They're athletic. They're going to get after it. The zone's going to look like how Syracuse fans kind of expect the zone to look. So we're excited about it. What are your thoughts on the Syracuse upcoming season?
I think